everybody, and welcome back to the Broverwatch podcast. My name, as always, is Adam Cook, and as you may see, I'm alone today, and that is because, just like I did to Calder last week, Calder has ditched me this week. It is quite unfortunate that we can't get our schedules straight, even though it's the same every week, but I don't know what his excuse is today. He didn't tell me. I didn't ask. But I know that I had a work thing last week, so that's why I wasn't able to come last week. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to do a solo one this week. I did send out a very desperate tweet on our Broverwatch Twitter that said, "Hey, if anybody in the Overwatch League wants to be a guest host on my podcast, feel free to come on." And I also sent Mooma a message on Discord saying, "Hey Mooma, I'm a big fan. You want to be a guest host on my podcast?" He did not get back to me, which I understand, and now I feel bad because now I'm one of those people. But hey, maybe being by myself isn't such a bad thing. I'm going to try something new. You can probably tell by the title and maybe even the thumbnail. I don't know. I'm trying something a little different today. We'll have a couple news stories, but then we'll get into something a little different. And I don't know if you noticed, but I am currently wearing a custom Houston Outlaws jersey. There. Oh, there's my username right there. I'm a dumb. And then on the back, it also says it there. And then the numbers there. It's very high quality. It's all on there, and I love it. So if you've been thinking about getting a jersey, go ahead and do it because they're very good quality. And I got it before they had the T-Mobile sponsor on it. So there you go. Now let's jump into the first news story. So, you want to build a new roster. Calder was supposed to cover this last week, but he didn't. I did watch his video. Horrible thumbnail. And the video itself was a valiant effort. It wasn't bad. Especially since I have all the setup stuff. Although I was surprised to see that he did download OBS and he figured out how to do some stuff, so props to Calder. But this is a two-person thing, you know, and this podcast isn't going to be as good as the usual ones because we can't banter back and forth, you know, we can't talk about stuff. I just got to talk to myself, you know what I mean? So he didn't cover this last week. He was supposed to, but we'll just cover it this week as the playoff race heats up in stage 4. You can tell that we were supposed to do this last week because Stage 4 is long over. Coaches and players are focused on the task at hand, but behind the scenes, teams are already gearing up for the future. As soon as the inaugural season of the Overwatch League wraps up at the Barclays Center in late July, teams will need to prepare for the 2019 season and beyond. As such, the league has set the following guidelines in place for roster construction. So these are all the dates that are important for trades and signings and stuff like that. So I'm going to read those now. August 1st, the signing window will open for teams to negotiate extensions with current players or to sign players from their affiliated contenders teams. Teams may also begin making player trades. Now, this is a bit confusing. Or no, never mind. It's not confusing. I was just confusing myself. So, first of all, August 1st is the big date. The rest are also important, but this is the big date. August 1st, signing window opens to negotiate extensions. So that's when we'll start hearing, Seagull has decided to stay with the Dallas Fuel. Or maybe we'll hear Seagull has decided not to stay with the Dallas Fuel. Stuff like that. Pretty much it'll all be the players that we already know that are on the teams and whether they're staying with their team or not. That'll probably be the meat and potatoes of the whole trading and signing thing, because these are the players that we know and have grown to care about. Although then it gets interesting if they don't stay with their teams, because then we get into trades, because teams will also be allowed to make player trades. And I'm excited to see this because I know that there was only one big trade. There were a couple transfers. For example, when Fissure went from London to Gladiators, or when Rascal went from London to Dallas. There were a couple transfers, but there was only one trade when Unco and Custa were traded between LA Valiant and Dallas Fuel. So it'll be interesting to see how many trades actually happen, because you kind of have to match values, but also feel like you're getting something out of it and have the other person think they're getting something out of it. So that'll be interesting. But also, I believe what this is saying is at this date, people will be allowed, or teams will be allowed to sign people from their contenders' teams to their team. Not necessarily from any contenders' team, just theirs. And then I believe on September 9th, when all of the agreements end and players not under contract become free agents, then anyone who wasn't taken in or didn't sign anything for their father team or their main team from contenders will then be able to be picked up from any team. That's what I'm gathering from this. Maybe they mean that on August 1st they can pick them up from any contenders team. But for example, I'm guessing that this means like on August 1st, Flower can sign to the NYXL. But if he chooses not to, by September 9th, then he can sign to Houston Outlaws or the Shanghai Dragons or something. Then he can go to another team. That's my guess. That's what I'm gathering from this. And then any players not under contract will become free agents. So this will also be interesting for the players that are either kicked off their team or decide to leave their team. And they'll be allowed to be picked up from any other team. So this will be very interesting to see who stays, who goes, and for the people who don't stay, who actually gets picked up and who they get picked up by. Because there is a chance that people will be like, oh, I'm not going to stay on my team, I'll go to another team. But then they never get picked up by another team. That will be sad. Then September 9th to October 7th is the exclusive window for Overwatch League expansion teams to sign free agents. So between September 9th and October 7th, new teams, for example, if there's a team from Seattle or a team from Toronto or Sydney, Australia, then this is the window that they have to sign free agents. Which this is nice because they're allowing the new teams to have kind of first picks at the free agents. And I think this will make trades more interesting because I think people or teams will be more likely to make trades since they know that if they really want a player, maybe they should give up another player to get that player so that they know that they get that player. For example, if Dallas really wants Jonak, now this is like far-fetched, but if Dallas really wants Jonak and they said, listen, we will give you Mickey and Effect if you give us Jonak. They might do that because they really want Jonak, because if in some world NYXL releases Jonak and then he doesn't sign with anybody, or he doesn't, if he leaves his team and then he becomes a free agent, then he'll most definitely get picked up by an expansion team, like the Seattle whatevers or something like that. So I think the fact that expansion teams get first dibs on free agents might make there be more inter-team trading. So it'll be like, hey, we got to help each other out. Who do you want? I'll help you get who you want. And honestly, it might be like this team wants this person, but they don't have any good trades. So this team will trade with this team so they can trade that player to get that player if this team gives this team this player. It's a bit confusing, but I think it'll be very interesting. I really like that they're giving expansion teams a first dibs, but I think a lot of the teams will try and figure out a way to trade their way around to get the players they want. Then, on October 8th, free agent signing window will open for all teams. So then all teams will be able to sign whoever they want. All teams must have a minimum of 8 players under contract. So, of course, it was the same with the first season, I believe. You must have at least 8 players on the team. Actually, I think it was less for the first season, because I think Florida Mayhem only had 6 players on their team. Yeah, Florida Mayhem only had 6 players, which was kind of what screwed them over in the end. So I like that they're doing this, expanding it to you at least need to have 8 under contract by December 1st, 2018. Teams may sign or trade players until the final deadline during the 2019 season, which will be announced at a later date. I believe for Season 1 it was like halfway through stage, or I think it was in between Stage 2 and 3 was the final window, or maybe it was at the end of Stage 3, I'm not sure. Was the last time that you could trade. Players who turn 18 prior to the season deadline are eligible to sign Overwatch League contracts for the 2019 season. While the date has not yet been finalized, players born before May 1st, 2001 will be eligible. Dude, I could be in the friggin' Overwatch League, but I'm garbage trash. That's unfortunate. Although I'm practically part of the Overwatch League now because I have a jersey. Beginning with the 2019 season, the term of player arrangements, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So pretty much those are the important points. They talk a little bit about contenders roster rules. Maybe this is very important. There's a good chance this is very important, and I'm just skipping over it. Beginning with Season 2 contenders this year, contenders rosters will be capped at 8 players. Here we go. Contenders Academy teams affiliated with Overwatch League organizations may negotiate right to match clauses granting the parent team the right to match any offer from competing Overwatch League teams wishing to sign Contenders Academy players. The matching period. So pretty much there's something in place that allows the parent team to be like, hey, we'll match whatever salary you want, or whatever salary this other team is offering you. So parent teams do get first dibs in a way. Two-way players. Any player on the roster may agree to be eligible for contenders play, but a maximum of 4 players may be designated as two-way players during each Overwatch stage. Two-way players are eligible to compete in contenders subject to the following rules. Regardless of where they play, two-way players count towards the Overwatch League roster limit of 12 and must earn the same salary and benefits. Two-way players also will count towards the 8-player contenders roster. So each team can have 4 two-way players, which are players that can compete on contenders and Overwatch League. So that's actually very interesting, because I guess that'll just give players that aren't playing in the Overwatch League a way to still practice playing in like a competitive scene a lot more. I like that. So, for example, when Seagull was not playing for the longest time, he could have been he couldn't have been, but if it was in season 2, he could have just been playing in contenders, getting that competitive drive, also practicing a lot more, practicing what it's like to play D.Va with a team so that he could play D.Va on the team. That's very interesting. I like that a lot. And that is it for that. Very interesting. I also kind of follow League of Legends, but I don't really understand the game very well, pretty much at all. I just kind of like cheering for the teams, and I like the players. I watch interviews all the time. So for me, the best part of League of Legends is the off season when everyone's making trades. So I'm looking forward to this for sure because I really enjoy the whole aspect of like trading and making new teams and players. It's very cool, very awesome. Next story. The All-Star teams starting rosters have been announced. In the Pacific Division, Fissure, Custa, Geguri, Fleta, Ryu Jaehong, and Seagull. This is very exciting, very cool. What makes me most excited about this is Seagull's going to play some DPS, most likely. Because Fissure's main tank, Geguri is off tank, Fled is DPS, Ryu Jaehong is healer, Custa's healer. I gotta have another DPS. Seagull. Maybe Ryu Jaehong will try some DPS, and Seagull will flex over to healer. Who knows? Seagull's a freaking genius. He can do whatever he wants. I really like this team, and this is just a personal preference thing, but I feel like I'd rather have someone like Sleepy in instead of Ryu Jaehong. I'd rather have, I don't know, Surefour instead of Fleta. I don't know. I feel like that, I don't know. It's just a personal preference thing. I just love every single one of these players, but Fleta and Ryu Jaehong, I feel like they've really been not doing very well at all near the end of the season. So I feel like, I don't want to be mean, but I feel like they don't really deserve this spot. But it doesn't really matter because both of these teams will be having more players added from player voting and caster voting, coach voting, and analyst voting, stuff like that. So these aren't the final teams. These aren't the who's going to play. This is just the starting rosters. Atlantic Division is Jonak, Sabielby, Pine, Arc, Carpe, Gesture. This team kind of, I don't know. I don't like this team because it's just New York plus Carpe and Gesture. And not only is it New York plus Carpe and Gesture, but it is Jonak, who, yes, is a healer, but he's practically a DPS. Then Sabielby, he's a DPS. Pine, who's a flex, but really, he's a DPS. Carpe, he's a DPS. Arc, healer, Gesture is a tank. So really, they have a main tank, no off tank. They have no off tank. Is Pine going to flex to off tank? Who knows? Maybe he can play a good Zarya? Who knows? Jonak, he can probably play anything, honestly. But he needs to heal, because who else is going to heal with Arc? Arc can't heal the whole team. Sabielby, of course, is going to play DPS. It's NYXL plus 2. And it's also DPS plus 2, because everyone here's a DPS except Arc and Gesture. Yes, I know Jonak is a healer. Okay. I'm just saying. It's a weird team. Now, of course, these teams are going to be added to. I'm sure that Muma is going to be on a team. He's going to be voted on. I'm sure Surefour is going to be on. These teams aren't done. These teams aren't done, okay? I'm very excited to see this because All-Star stuff is very fun. I hope they goof around, do some stuff like competitive mystery heroes or something like that. That would be really fun. Or even they kind of break it down and do like 1v1s or maybe even competitive deathmatch. I just think that would be really fun. Very interesting. Now, those are the only two big main stories I had. Now, we are going to get to the meat and potatoes. This literally dropped minutes before I started recording. It is a new trailer for... Oh no. Okay. It is a new trailer for the new hero in Overwatch, Hero 28. I believe it's Hero 28. Let's watch it, and then we're going to analyze it frame by frame. That's it. Now let's analyze it frame by frame, shall we? Or let's watch it in slow motion first. Very interesting. That is very interesting. Now let's watch it frame by frame. Let's go all the way to the first frame. Okay, this is the first frame. Now, as you can see on the wall here, Lucio is right here. You can see him right there. There he is. I don't think he has anything to do with this. Boom. Equal rights for Omnics. Boom, 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 everywhere here. But, and here's a Lucio ball. Don't think that's important, but it's whatever. What's over here? What's over here? Oh, it's Monkey. Interesting. Hey, it's another monkey. Interesting. Power for New Horizons. Hey, is this a ball shape? Let's watch it again. This looks like a ball shape. Very interesting. Now let's get more in-depth analysis. That was the first frame. Let's look at the next frame. Now, not much has changed here. If you notice, right here, the smoke moves a little bit. But that's about all we've got. Next frame moves a little more. We're going to speed through these frames. Just some smoke moving. Now, what could this smoke mean? Does this smoke mean that this new character has a lung disease? And that's part of its backstory. Who knows? We'll never know. Well, we might know at some point. Now, as we move along here, the camera does start to shake. If you notice, I'm going to go back. All these frames are the same. Frame, 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 frame. The only thing that's moving is this smoke. But watch this. Ready? Frame, 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 frame. Did you see that? Look right here. These bricks are moving slightly in this frame. And then when I go to the next frame, it's again. And as I move, do you notice how it's gyrating? This wall is gyrating. Look at that. It's moving more. And as I go, the whole camera is shaking. If you look, you can see the whole camera is shaking. And the sound is getting louder. It's shaking more and more. And now it's shaking like crazy. Look, it was just kind of jiggling here, and then boom. All of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. It's sudden movements. The whole camera is shaking a lot. And it's shaking more and more. It's getting louder and louder. Holy crap, it's shaking a lot. And if you look over here, almost unprovoked, something flies into frame here. Do you see this? It flies into frame, hits that newspaper. And now we're going to have to go frame by frame here. Not in frame, in frame. Not in frame, in frame. You can see it right here. Here comes the ball. And yes, this is in the most high def that I could get it. Okay? So keep that in mind. Alright, here's the ball. Now, Does it look like this? That's my question. And my answer to that would be yes, because there are these orange lights on it, and there's orange lights on this. And it looks like this is a door, a capsule of some sort. My guess, an escape pod. Now, unfortunately, we don't really get a good look at it in any way. But it very much looks like this. Now, if we go back, take a look here. Let's see if we can find this marking. There's an orange marking on this, and there's a circle door. Maybe this is the marking. Maybe this is the orange marking. It's very difficult to tell. And then it rolls on by. Very interesting. Now, the question is, of course, what is Hero 28? Let me tell you. Hero 28, my guess, is none other than... Just let me get a picture up here. Hero 28 is none other than the one, the only, oh my goodness, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. The one, the only, Hammond. Now, this isn't official artwork. This is not official artwork. This is just artwork in general. But this does look pretty rad. Why do I think it's Hammond? Well, first of all, the main thing that makes me think it's Hammond is because it's obvious. The main thing that makes me think it's Hammond is because it's obvious. I think it might be Hammond because it's obvious. I think it might be Hammond because if you haven't noticed, it's pretty freaking obvious that it's Hammond. It's pretty obvious that it's Hammond. One sec. It's pretty obvious that it's Hammond. And why do I say that? Oh no. And why do I say this? I say this because we thought that Brigida was going to be Hammond. We did. I'm pretty sure we also thought Moira was going to be Hammond. Actually, Brigida we never thought was going to be Hammond. We thought Moira was going to be Hammond. Because they were kind of teasing this whole Hammond thing. I think they teased Hammond a little early by accident. Not really. I think they teased him on purpose. But they like doing this thing where they're like, hey, this is going to be a hero. And then they release random hero. Then they tease this hero and then they throw a random hero in. And then eventually they give us the hero. I think they're finally going to give us Hammond. Who knows how he's going to play? Who knows? He's in a ball? That means one of two things. Either that's just an escape pod to kind of hint at the fact that it's Hammond, or he's literally always in the escape pod, and it's freaking Super Monkey Ball. You ever seen Super Monkey Ball? Here, let me pull up Super Monkey Ball. Okay. This is what I'm hoping for. This is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that this is what Hammond plays like. Okay? This is exclusive Broverwatch gameplay of Hammond gameplay. Alright? We got exclusive footage of Hammond gameplay in Overwatch. As you can see there, he fell off the side of the map and he respawned. He's picking up, he's got to get around all the enemies here, right? And he's going on a flank route right now. See, and he tricked him, right? It's very interesting because you may be thinking, where's his gun? Where are his abilities? He's just in a ball. That's the point. That's the point of his character. He is the ball. Now let me get myself kind of in this headspace of being one with Hammond. This is what Hammond gameplay is going to be like. Okay? You're rolling along. Right? And then you see, oh, there's the objective. Oh. That's the prediction, ladies and gentlemen, is that Hammond is going to be the first character ever to not have any gun, not to have any abilities, not have any health. He's invincible. He cannot die. And that's why he's perfect for pushing the payload and getting on objective, because he cannot die. Unfortunately, he also can't kill anyone. As you can see, he's not killing anyone. He's just collecting bananas. But the more bananas on the map that you collect, it's like health packs. Except there's more bananas than there are health packs. The more bananas you pick up, the more likely, or the faster you get the objective, the faster you get objective time. The faster you push the payload. It does cap off once you get 10 bananas, but it's like a meter. It slowly goes down, but then the more bananas you gotta keep getting bananas to keep the meter up, so you keep completing the objective faster. And as you can see, it can get pretty tricky. It can get a little tricky. Okay. Anyway, I'm excited for Hammond. Who knows? Maybe he'll be fun. He'll probably be fun. They're all fun. Overwatch is a fun game. I enjoy Overwatch. Okay? Overwatch is a fun game. That's why I have a podcast about it with my friend who also likes Overwatch. We're gonna play the game. We're gonna play Hammond. We're gonna like it. Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of the Broverwatch podcast. I know it was quite unconventional. Lost it a bit at the end. Now I'm going to end this podcast, upload it, and then I'm going to play some Overwatch. Because I like it. I like the game, Overwatch, okay? Thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't have the music up. I never do. I never have the music up when I'm supposed to have the music up, do I? I'm going to open it. Screw it. When I'm on this show alone, things are going to be done right. All right? That's my motto. When it's just Adam, it's just right. So thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate your viewership and your listenership. Whether Calder's here or not, I appreciate it. I love you guys. We're hoping to maybe change some things up in the future. Kind of improve the quality, maybe change how it's done. Maybe we'll start doing these live. That would probably be a bad idea, but we might try it. We're going to try and book some guests. It's probably not going to happen because we aren't popular, but we're going to try. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate it. Calder appreciates it. We love you. Goodbye.